The years of Sarah's life felt like a quiet storm. By 29, most of her friends were married or abroad. Their lives glittered on social media, weddings at luxury halls, selfies in London, new jobs in oil companies. Meanwhile, Sarah woke up every day to help her mother run a small roadside kiosk in Gunla. It was not that she was lazy. She had graduated with good grades in economics. But jobs never came. Interviews always ended with the same line, "We will get back to you." And they never did. At night, Sarah scrolled through Instagram until her eyes stung. Her classmates posted pictures with captions like, "Another contract sealed," or, "New keys, new car, God did it again." Sarah would drop her phone on her chest, turn to the wall, and cry silently. The shame was heavier because of her neighbors. They whispered loud enough for her to hear. So this one went to university to come back and be selling bread. She should just marry and stop disgracing herself. Every word pierced her like a knife. Sarah began to believe them. Maybe she was cursed. Maybe her life had already ended before it began. One evening, after a long, humiliating day at the kiosk, Sarah overheard two old women talking. "Look at her," one said. "By now she should be in her husband's house or abroad. Instead, she is wasting away here." Sarah walked into the house and shut the door. For the first time in her life, she wanted to end it all. She thought, if this is life, I don't want it anymore. She sat in the darkness, tears flooding her face. That was when she noticed the huge tree behind their compound through the window. It stood tall, its branches wide, moving in the night breeze. Her grandfather's voice echoed in her memory. The tree does not blame itself for standing many years as only a seed. It waits, gathering storms, gathering sun, gathering seasons. Then one morning, without announcement, it splits the ground and becomes a shelter for others. Sarah sobbed harder, but those words hit her differently that night. Maybe she was not cursed. Maybe she was still gathering. She whispered to herself, "One day, I will split the ground." Instead of giving up, Sarah began to use the kiosk differently. She experimented with new recipes. Meat pies, donuts, puff-puff, egg rolls, she tried them all. Her mother laughed at her burnt experiments, but slowly, Sarah perfected her baking. Some days, customers mocked her. University graduate, frying puff-puff? God forbid. But Sarah ignored them. She kept frying. She kept saving. She kept waiting. Then one day, an office worker who usually bought snacks from her said, "Sarah, your meat pie is better than the ones I buy in Victoria Island. Why don't you supply my office?" That small order opened the first door. Soon, other offices requested. Within a year, Sarah was supplying 3 companies every week. But it wasn't easy. She had nights where she baked until 2 a.m., only to wake up by 5. She had moments when flour prices skyrocketed, and all her profits disappeared. She had days when customers cancelled orders without warning. Still, she remembered the tree. Gather the storms, gather the seasons. She endured. For years later, Sarah saved enough to open her own restaurant. It was not big, but it was clean, well decorated, and filled with the smell of fresh pastries. On opening day, the same neighbors who once mocked her stood at the door, smiling like long-lost friends. "Sarah, we always knew you would make it." Sarah smiled, but deep inside she remembered their laughter. Her restaurant grew rapidly. Within 2 years, she opened a second branch. Local newspapers wrote about her. She was invited to speak at business seminars, where young people listened to her story with wide eyes. She had become the shelter her grandfather spoke about. One evening, Sarah was locking up her restaurant when she heard 2 young girls whispering. "She's so lucky. Some people just have life easy." Sarah laughed softly. If only they knew. Luck had nothing to do with it. Seeds do not sprout by luck. They split the ground by waiting, enduring, and gathering. She walked home under the same old tree. Its branches stretched wider than ever, covering half the compound now. Sarah placed her hand on the trunk and whispered. I did not blame myself. I waited. And now, I have split the ground.